Dopamine devotion, how to train your brain to love the process and not the reward. This is going to be a part of a 3-part series. The first one is, what is dopamine? In this one, we'll talk about dopamine devotion. What is that? Dopamine devotion is the ability to switch the anticipation from the reward to the process itself. You could think about like a fighter. You could think about like an athlete. Let's take an example of Mike Tyson. He was, from what I remember and from what I saw in a YouTube video, or was it him saying it, where he was training like 3 or 4 times a day in prison for the whole time he was there, maybe like 3 years. So imagine he's just doing push-ups, squats, running in place, doing a jump rope like 4 or 5 times a day. What is he enjoying here? The process. He knows when he gets out of prison, he's going to fight again. He's not looking, think about it. The fight is going to be what? Maybe like, okay, fine, even if it's an hour long. You're training for 3 years for a fight day that could be 4 or 5 rounds that are what, 3 minutes long? I don't know how many rounds, like what the timing is on boxing. But I'm just saying he loves the process. And I remember him saying this, is that discipline is something that you love to hate. In my humble thoughts, what I would say is that discipline is something that I invest in for the future. As an example, when I was in med school, it took me 10 years, to finish undergrad, med school, residency. And still it was a 1.5-year process of me understanding how to talk to patients. And before, I was all over the place, talking fast, my stories didn't make sense. Even you can see some of my previous YouTube videos. But what I did was I started doing these things. Mind slow, mind calm, mind pause when you speak. Mind P, C, T's, and B's, mind syllable. And some of these things I even got from Eminem as well, speaking in syllables. Pausing like this. What this allowed me to do was to enjoy the process. Now, the reward, even still I'm in the process of it, but the dopamine comes from that I'm doing it still. You know what I mean? It's not like, for another example was quitting sugar. When I quit sugar, I sat down that one day and I'm like, look, we're not going to be able to move forward. God is not going to bless me. The mission, vision, purpose will not move forward. Let's just quit sugar now for the next second. I remember sitting down 24 hours later, which I did not think was possible. Remember, I was completely addicted to sugar, completely emotionally dependent on it. And I didn't realize that until 24 hours after I quit. I'm like, dang, I don't have my best friend anymore, which is sugar. The reward even came in me thinking about going to the store, about ordering DoorDash. Those were immediate dopamine hits. Almost when I got the cheesecakes, these guys know it, the cheesecake was my favorite. When I got the cheesecake or crumble cookies, it was like, it was gone. I wanted to go on DoorDash again. I wanted to go to the store again. I wanted to walk through with my bag. So all of those were the anticipation, right? I was getting rewarded each time. But now the reward was that maybe I can do a YouTube video on this. When I quit the inflammatory food, I was able to slow down. My brain is not moving as fast. There is no longer I don't order DoorDash anymore. There's nothing to eat. I don't eat sugar. Everything has sugar in it. So with that said, most people chase the response, the closure, the compliment, the food, or the distraction. But dopamine devotion will inspire your nervous system in not the reward, but it's who you're becoming, the identity transfiguration. I am the person that eats sugar. I'm not the person that eats sugar. Identity transfiguration. I'm the person who will delay everything. Identity transfiguration. And then you'll have identity lag. That identity lag could be a 1.5 years, meaning you're like, no, I should do that. I'll try it. Oh, but they said Fridays is okay. Maybe I'll have some dessert. These are the things that will get you back to that quick dopamine. Another example is of when I quit smoking. I quit smoking, I think data suggests 7 or 9 times that people will take to quit smoking. I quit maybe like 3 times, and one was like a week, a month. Let me just take one puff. So you're getting that immediate dopamine, right? But if you were to take that one puff, you can still do that, but wait for 1 second. This is how I quit. So take the cigarette, put it down, and then smoke it. So what you're doing is you're delaying the dopamine, but you're not denying yourself. Here's the medical foundation for dopamine delay. The anterior cingulate cortex is the brain's area, which is the conflict detector, the effort evaluator, and the delay tolerance system. When you delay gratification, even by 1 second, the anterior cingulate cortex will activate. And this strengthens your ability to delay the impulses, regulate emotions, which I don't like to use. I would rather say be emotionally free. Don't control your emotions, instead accept them. And then tolerate uncertainty and resist compulsive behavior. Another good example is cold showers. Andrew Huberman talks about this. If you want to go take a cold shower, it's not going to work. For example, if I was to go back to eating sugar and I didn't want to do it or I didn't care for it, it wouldn't really matter. The anterior cingulate cortex wouldn't register it as you're disciplined now. But that doesn't mean you could not still end up with a heart attack or stroke. Why does 1 second work? Micro delays matter because dopamine starts rising during pursuit. For example, I'm going to the store, DoorDash, not after the reward. Every delay you create trains your brain that you control the reward loop and not the stimuli. The 1 second touch and walk away, for example, you want to eat a Skittle, put it down for 1 second, 1, 2, and then eat it. And then do it again for 3 seconds. If you keep on doing this, as I mentioned, probably in a year and a half, you'll have stabilized the dopamine levels. And that's the beginning of the journey. You could probably advance it. You could think about it like even working out. I mean, what is working out going to do? You're just going to feel good. Endorphins are going to increase, but are you going to get some muscle right away? It could take months. I mean, it took me years to understand how to work out. Delay the dopamine. How handwriting or mind hygiene amplifies dopamine devotion. Writing activates the dopaminergic reward system. Handwriting engages the prefrontal cortex. It will stimulate your basal ganglia. I am the person that does not eat bad food. You're doing identity alchemy here. There's some identity lag, but imagine the hormonal freedom that you have. The cortisol is decreased by writing, activates the prefrontal cortex. Oxytocin bond with yourself increases. Your mood stabilizes with serotonin. I did it. Norepinephrine, epinephrine released from the adrenal medulla is decreased. You're more calm. You don't have that neurochemical activation, and you're able to delay the dopamine by writing. Let's take an example of some things here. There you can see my dry erase board where I have some stuff and where I'm writing down about identity transfiguration from the neurochemical prisoner that I was scared of people. I was in pursuit of, being liked by people with external validation, to now being a neurospiritual sovereign that is a person that blesses, that speaks, is an embodied consecrated speaker. And what I've done here is I've written these things down: neural demolition of whatever the identity was that I did not want to be anymore, meaning I didn't want to be the person that hated myself. I didn't want to be the person that was in a dopamine addict. And what I'm doing here is I'm integrating into the basal ganglia, which is the habit center. The habit is that I delay every habit that I want. I usually do these every day. There might be some rare days where I don't. We're here, January 27th, you can see here how there's a lot of writing. Here I'm calculating my health. I'll usually do this every 3 or 4 days. Spiritual health, 10. Mind health, 8. Time health, 6. Physical health, 8. Executional health, 6. Physical health, I did that. Core values health, 8. Here is another one where I am talking about budgeting and transferring things. And also when I went to a training session recently, I wrote down everybody's name. So what that does is that gives me an anticipation of dopamine. Imagine if I say your name: Leslie, Amy, Jonathan, Ramesh. It feels good, right? I learned it from How to Win Friends and Influence People. Here are some speaking topics that I've been writing for some podcasts. Mind hygiene, the daily practice between emotional freedom, behind emotional freedom, and neurospiritual sovereignty. So here is another one. I want to eat some bad food. I want to spend some money. So I have compassion for myself. I have empathy for myself. And I write some of these things down about awareness on the inside, on the outside. What I'm doing here is this is my dopamine now. This is my reward system when I write. And I know I'm going to write something where I'm going to delay whatever it is. And you can see here This is what mind hygiene is, right? Supported by medical evidence. There's a study there. And I'm writing these things all. There's no way I would be able to survive emotional freedom, monastic solitude without this writing and without nature. So if you found value in this video, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll be dropping videos every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can delay the dopamine anticipation for that. And like the video, comment on it, share it with somebody that needs to hear the message. And I hope you found value in this. Namaste.